There's been a lot of changes in the last 10, 20 or perhaps 30 years. Certainly over here in the Western world, there seems to be quite a change in the way that people view the world. There's quite an awakening being going on. And you could say that these are the beginnings of what could be called the new civilization. So radical and different how it's going to unfold. It's quite interesting that this consciousness that's been happening with people have different dreams and goals and aspirations. Different understandings are coming about. People seem to be more conscious of the way that you think is more important than necessarily how much money you earn or how big your house is as time goes on. There's all sorts of ways in which people are becoming more conscious. You know, how do we orientate ourselves, and what part can we play? And this is one of the things that's been very interesting for me. You know, how to participate in bringing in this new civilization that is arriving. Many people are now studying things like NLP, neural linguistic programming. So all sorts of ways in which people can understand the mind better and understand how to relate better, and studying better communication systems. You know, whatever your particular system happens to be, you don't actually have to have a label. I've started off by coining my own word, which is thexia, Thexia. You know, that's where the word thought comes from, is the Greek letter of the alphabet theta. Aristotle and Plato, the Greek philosophers, used to use that symbol to mean thought or soul. Often they'd mean you as a spirit or you as a soul. We were talking about, wonderful power sources for mankind, including, we were talking about lava and getting huge amounts of energy out of the ground, of course, because we're standing on this huge ball of energy, which of course is the ultimate answer for in terms of mankind's energy requirements, is simply, the Earth is full of heat. And we only need to dig a big hole, and we've got a wonderful supply of energy for the next 500,000 years or so. Really, the true source of energy is you as a spirit, you as a soul. And what does soul mean? What is that? Does soul just mean your spirit, the way that you flow? It sounds all very mystical, and whereas I consider it to be fairly scientific. What is a soul constructed of? Well, a soul is constructed of nothing, because things are of the physical world, and a soul is a non-physical thing. So it consists of no matter, no material, no energy, no space, and no time. The physical universe is matter, energy, space, and time. But you as a being, you don't consist of matter, you don't consist of energy, you don't consist of space, and you don't consist of time. You make matter, energy, space, and time. You are a source point of matter, energy, space, and time. So you have no wavelengths, you don't consist of energy, you are a source point of energy. There might be a possibility of tapping into some of the energy of a spirit. You've heard of levitation, kind of where your body is off the ground. Well, at the moment you're sat in a chair, aren't you? Okay. Well, I would say to you that in fact you're not sat in a chair. You are in fact levitating. Right now, you are levitating. Because none of the atoms of your bottom that's on the chair are touching any of the atoms that are on the chair. Your feet are not touching the ground, and your bottom is not touching the chair. Did you know this? That there is so much space between every atom that when you touch, for example here, if I take my finger now and I touch this wall, you think that my finger is touching the wall. No, there are no atoms of my finger touching any of the atoms of the wall. It's because it's the same way with magnets. When magnets repel each other, when you turn them both, so feel the force pushing against. Okay, well that's what you're feeling when you press the wall, is that the atoms of the wall repel the atoms of your finger. They're not touching. Isn't that wonderful? You are hovering above your chair. Scientifically known, the world around us, that all of the human bodies, if you took all of the spaces away from all of the atoms and just took all of the atoms and pushed them all together, of all of the human bodies on the planet, they occupy the size of a sugar cube, about this size. Now, I don't believe this. That's the scientific fact. But I'm not sure that even that is true, because I think that's way too big. I think that's much too big. I'm not even sure that there are any atoms anyway. Well, or what is an atom? The body, the distance between atoms in any substance, in any object, like a wall or your hand, any object, the distance between the atoms is so big, it's like planets in the solar system. There's much more space than there is atoms. So atoms, there really aren't really very many of, paired with the amount of space. Isn't that wonderful? And that's the same when you come down to the atomic scale. Spaces between the atoms are so big, they are so big, that you may as well say that there aren't any atoms. Okay then, so if that's true then, that when you touch a wall, that the pressure that you're feeling is that your fingers are being repelled from the wall, like magnets are pushing away from each other. Well, what is that constructed of? What is the force constructed of? If it's not made of atoms, you see, if there's some force in between, that means that the space itself is able to communicate a force. Begun to understand that it just comes down to what I use in my science, if you like. I call it intention vectors. In other words, there is a wall here. This is an intention. You intend there to be a wall, and so there is a wall. Or you intend there to be a floor, and so there is a floor. You know that there's a floor. You know that there's a wall. That knowing, that energy, the knowingness which causes the table, which causes the floor, which causes the wall. That's one way of looking at life. And maybe it is so, maybe it isn't. This is a very interesting question, because there the question is, does a soul create everything that it experiences? So you as an individual soul then, can you cause things? I consider that you as a being, as a soul, you are beyond matter, energy, space, and time. So notice the word time. You are beyond time. Time is something of the physical world, but you're not physical, which means then that you as a soul are, well, you could say immortal. You were born before the beginning, and you're going to carry on till after the end.